Well, good morning to all of you. Though we be few in number, God is with us all the more. Do you know He changed the world with 12 disciples, 11, and then they added one. Numbers mean nothing to God. He can change a family with one person. Here comes Caleb with two beautiful kids. You know, I was doing some thinking. In 1989, 2 million people across the Baltics, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, they held hands and went 440 miles, all linked together, hand by hand by hand. And they were saying, we want freedom. The Soviet Union had said, you joined us freely and you can't go. And they said, watch this. And they felt that 420 miles holding hands, this whole 2 million people, they knew that it could pick up on satellite. And they called it the Balkan Plan. It's an interesting story. But 3 years earlier in the United States in '86, several 100,000 Americans held hands and went across America protesting hunger and poverty. It's amazing what you can do when you hold hands. Let's try it this morning. Maybe stand to your feet and just shake a hand. And shake a hand of somebody you don't know. Glenn, you need to go back and shake those two ladies' hands. They're feeling lonely. I shook your hand coming in, but let's try it again. Good. Glenn, there's one back there you missed. Mother?
I can't give her a hug. Shake both. I'm ahead these days.
And Margie, Glenn. You know, I have patients throughout the week. And I'll come in their room and they'll look up with me and I'll stick my hand out and they'll raise their feeble hand and they won't let go. They'll hold on just like you do, Mother. Yeah. Last week when the president was here, was it last week? Yeah. He had 4 questions for us, for those of you that missed it. 4 questions. What are your strengths as a church? And he said, don't be afraid to brag on yourselves. And many good reports came out of you. And he said, now, what are some of your challenges? And you know, there was not a lot of complaints. They said, we're going forward, we've got challenges, but every church does. And he said, we paused on that for quite some time. And then he said the third question was what? Yes, what do you want in a pastor? Somebody popped up with perfection. And there is no such thing. Is there, Steve? There is no such thing. So we hashed about what would be appropriate for us at this time and place in our journey. You know, sometimes in a journey, you need something different than you need at the end of the journey. Do you know what I mean? A mother that's raising kids, changing diapers, hopefully gets over that by the time they're 15. Although sometimes mistakes happen. But, so we talked about someone that gets their hands around all of us, school included. And it was a good session, actually, it was. I talked to him afterwards, and I've talked with him 2, 3, 4, 5 times now. He said, you know, I'm quite impressed with your church. And I said, how come? He said, well, they speak up, they participate, and they want to grow, and they want to go forward. And I said, you know, Dale gave us that sense of get your arms around people, love people that are different, and that was a big gift to this church, I think. Very important for us to love everybody. So, we're going to sing to that. But let's bow our heads first. Father, thank you for being with us. We need your guidance just like Israel did coming out of Egypt. We have a tendency sometimes to complain about things. No water, no bread, no food. But you promise to never leave us, nor forsake us. You're going to see us through to the promised land. Thank you for that. May we sing to your honor and glory in Jesus' name. Amen.
Good morning and happy Sabbath. Our first song is going to be 286, Wonderful Words of Life.
Sing them over again to me, wonderful words of life. Let me more of their beauty see.
song is 590, Trust and Obey. And only 3 verses, 1, 3, and 5.
When we walk with the Lord in the light of His word, what a glory He sheds on our way. What we do is good will. He abides with us still, and with all who will trust and obey. Trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus but to trust and obey. Not a burden we bear, not a sorrow we share, but our toil He doth richly repay. Not a grief nor a loss, not a frown nor a cross. What is blessed if we trust and obey? Trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus than to trust and obey. Then in fellowship sweet, we will feed at His feet, or will walk by His side in the way. What He says we will do, where He sends we will go. Never fear, only trust and obey. Trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus than to trust and obey.
And number 3 is going to be 620, On Jordan's Stormy Banks.
On Jordan's stormy banks I stand and cast a wishful eye to
our last song today is 537, He Leadeth Me.
Whate'er I do, where'er I be,
When Israel crossed over the Red Sea, they broke out into a beautiful song led by Miriam and Moses. And we're heading that way. We're getting older, Mother. We can't stop it. Nor repine nor ill will I say, but that's happens. As we get older, things happen. Things break down. Right, Glenn? Like an old machinery, they just fall apart on us. Our speaker this morning, though, is young. Her whole life is ahead of her. She has went to state, I understand, on speaking. elected to speak. KaraAnn, come share with us. She's got an interesting title. He leadeth me.
Does it work? Cool. If it works, great. Oh, perfect. Okay. It's been a little bit since I've done this, so good morning and happy Sabbath. I'm super excited to share with you today. The title is The Thrill and the Whisper. And yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm an adrenaline junkie. And my family would 100% agree. The ideas I come up with are generally the ones that are shot down because they're too crazy or somewhat a little dangerous. And yeah, always wanting the thrill of the chase. My heart pounds, my mind rushes, and my whole body comes alive under events that would make some people scared. Whether it's looking off of a cliff at what we just climbed that probably shouldn't have, whether it's racing down the ski hill on my skis, or just hanging out with Caden trying to move a couch into his playhouse. The adrenaline is what makes me going. I feel on top of the world, but I don't just chase adrenaline in my extreme activities or in competitions. It's in my day-to-day life. And it's become my normal. I like moving fast, the rush of life, and I hate wasting my time. Being able to take something that's a small moment and turn it into a big moment, whether or not I choose to. And this might just happen because I'm in a big family. I'm not totally sure, but my life is about the next big event. Whether it's mine, my sister's, or even my cousins, we always have something happening, and there's not much time to slow down. And so for me, I don't like watching movies because A, I don't know how to sit still that long, and B, the entire movie I'm thinking about my next event. I'm sitting there trying to relax, and it doesn't happen. And I've come to realize adrenaline is great for emergencies or events, but it's not a good way to live day to day. The problem is you become so addicted to the adrenaline that the normal life becomes unexciting or boring, that the quiet is too quiet, and you're not able to sit still and be able to appreciate what's happening around you. Instead of living in the present, I'm living for the next big thing or the moment that would be able to take me to the next high. And even if you aren't an adrenaline junkie in a typical sense, a lot of us are living like that in our spiritual lives. We rush from prayer to prayer or event to event, always chasing something in the future. God doesn't design us to live that way. He doesn't design us to live on permanent adrenaline, but instead calls us to be still and focus on the things right here and right now, the moments that God is speaking through and not being able to focus on him. One of the sneakiest pitfalls as a Christian or even as in our society is living in the next big thing. We've been told and adopted the later philosophy. We think about, once I get to next week, it'll be easier. Once this work week is over, I'll have more time. Once this school project is done, I can relax. And once we get there, it'll be easier. The problem is, later never happens. That next event keeps rolling. That project that we thought would be over turns into another project, or the deadline got extended and you're stuck finishing it a couple more days. The time that we thought would be the next season never comes. And it might be easy, but it traps us in a cycle of later. It's like chasing the horizon, never getting there. Matthew 6:34 says, "So don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble on its own." Jesus isn't telling us to be lazy, and he isn't telling us to stop planning, because planning has its time and its place. But he's reminding us not to borrow extra trouble. He's reminding us not to overthink every situation for the thousands of what-ifs could go wrong, and focus on the right now. Each day brings us gifts, and the gifts we're given can disappear in an instant, whether that be getting one sunrise every morning and one sunrise every evening, or just being able to sit down and have a good meal with your family. I love watching the clouds at work. I work at a vet clinic, so on the closing shift, I'm there potentially till 11 o'clock at night. My favorite part is walking outside and walking our dogs at about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and the sun setting. The horizon lights up, the clouds turn pink, and the whole horizon is gold. For me, that's my special gift every day. As I go back inside and I come out again, the whole sky is different. It's purple and orange, and the whole moon decides to come up from behind the trees. And if I were to not be able to stop, and if I had missed that moment, I would miss A, a pretty picturesque scene, and B, the time that I find the most relaxing, the most enjoyable, or the time that I'm able to put my feet together, look at the sky, and say, wow, this is a pretty good day. And it doesn't always happen that way. But if we're able to take a time and stop and think, we'll not miss out on the beauty right there. So many of us rush through the day. I rush through my school day. I rush through my work week, hoping for my weekend, my day off, my activity with friends, that I miss the little things in that day already. If I'm working so hard to be like, I'm going hiking this weekend, I miss out on the chance that I could have gone paddleboarding with my sisters that day because I was too focused on the next big event. Each day brings unique gifts, and we are stuck, and if we're stuck thinking about the future, stuck in the later opportunities, we don't get time to enjoy them. James 4:13 through 14 gives us a little bit of a different angle. Oh, if I can find it. There we go. James 4. Now listen, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go through this or that city, we will spend a year there, we will buy and sell and make money. You don't even know what will happen tomorrow. What is your life? It is a mist that appears for a little while, then disappears. We don't like to hear that. We're a mist that's going to disappear. We don't have that big of a difference right there, but we do. James isn't telling us that we don't matter. He's not telling us that we don't make a difference. He's telling us that life is fragile, and tomorrow isn't guaranteed. If we're always chasing the next big thing, you miss out on the small moments of each day. You miss out on being able to find that flower as you're walking out of your house. You miss out on watching the spectacular moments, and you miss out on the chances of saying yes. When you focus on tomorrow, I've found that I've lost chances. And when I take the time, especially this last year with my first year in college, to say yes, you take the time and a friend calls you at 11 o'clock at night, do you want to go to Walmart? You say yes. You live in the present and you go to Walmart and you get the cardboard sugar cookies and you come back and you have a blast in the dorms. You live in the present rather than worrying about, oh, I can't, I have a deadline coming up. Oh, I can't, I need sleep. Oh, I can't, I have to worry about tomorrow. You say, yes, I can. Let's do it today. When you might miss And you might also miss out on the things that God is doing right here. What might seem insignificant can play a bigger part later. One moment saying yes can change what happens. Meeting a person can change your outcome in the future. One moment of prayer can impact your entire life. We don't realize at that moment how small the little things that might seem insignificant are to our future. We don't think about how a small moment can impact unless we are taking the time to say yes. The little things impact, and if we're focused on the significant parts of our life that we've put weight on, we miss what we might call insignificant, which would end up turning out differently than we expected. Goals that you put can change drastically if you say yes to something else. I once heard a quote, it might have been on Pinterest: "The enemy doesn't destroy you, he'll distract you. Satan doesn't always show up as a wrecking ball destroying your entire life. He can show up by dangling the carrot of the next big thing, putting the next dream in front of your life. And we get distracted and never experience this right now of God's goodness." Even Bible characters experience the highs of adrenaline and crushed to the lows. And one of the most influential stories that I've found has been from Elijah. Elijah had done some pretty cool things and had even called down fire from heaven to burn up the temple of Baal. And with a single prayer, that all happened. That moment, the adrenaline was on a high, and he was on fire. He was realizing that he could do so much with God. A massive victory, all turned around in a single moment. A moment of a couple words from Jezebel, threatening his life, and that high he felt immediately crashed. I just want a handheld.
KaraAnn.
Turn off. There we go.
Okay, cool. And so this story comes in 1 Kings, and it's basically the whole chapter of 19, but we're going to focus on 5 through 8. It had taken a single moment, and that adrenaline that he felt from that high turned to despair. A man of God who called down fire from heaven, a champion of faith, and a bold prophet asked God to take his life. Someone who was so scared, running for his life, exhausted and broken. And that's what the crash is. The crash after that adrenaline that makes you feel on top of the world, then makes you doubt. Makes you doubt whether you belong there or if you have a purpose with what's happening. A victory or an achievement takes you high, and then you're left to cope afterwards. The exhaustion, the doubt, and the weariness. Elijah reminds us, though, that it's natural to crash. He makes it's what makes us human, and God doesn't leave you there alone. He gets us through it. And 1 Kings 19, 5 through 8 shows his response. Why is this so loud? Then he lay down under a bush and fell asleep. Suddenly an angel touched him, and the angel said, "Get up and eat." Elijah looked around, and near his head he found some bread. It had been baked over hot coals. A jar of water was also there. So Elijah ate and drank, and then he lay down again. God doesn't scorn us. He doesn't tell us that we have to have more faith or that we need to shake it off. He gives us food and water. Elijah, he directly sent an angel with some food and some water, giving us the chance to rest and recuperate. My favorite recovery from an adrenaline might be Doritos and Tapa Ramen, but I highly doubt that's what God sent to Elijah. After a high, though, we need the type of rest that God provides. God will renew our strength no matter what. Then, at Mount Orab, God speaks directly to Elijah, not with the thunder, the fire, or an earthquake, but in a different way. We're continuing in verse 9 through 12. There he went to a cave and spent the night. A message came to Elijah from the Lord. He said, "Elijah, what are you doing here?" He replied, "Lord God, who rules over all, I have been committed to you. The Israelites have turned their backs on your covenant. They have torn down your altars. They put your prophets to death with their swords. I'm the only one left, and they are trying to kill me." The Lord said, "Go out. Stand in the mountain in front of me, and I am going to pass by." As the Lord approached, a very powerful wind tore the mountain apart. It broke up the rocks, but the Lord wasn't in the wind. After the wind, there was an earthquake, but the Lord wasn't in the earthquake. After the earthquake, a fire came, but the Lord wasn't in the fire. And after the fire, there was only a gentle whisper. When Elijah heard it, he pulled his coat over his face. He went out and stood at the entrance of the cave. Then a voice said to him, "Elijah, what are you doing here?" So, we might not realize it, but God isn't the wind. He's not the earthquake, and he's not the fire. But God is that gentle whisper, a powerful reminder. While Elijah had experienced 3 of what we might consider the largest natural disasters or experiences, God wasn't in any of those adrenaline-filled moments. He was in the gentle whisper. He isn't in the loud or the dramatic. He's in the stillness. And God is often found after the adrenaline, after our crash, in the stillness and in the peace when we're not distracted by the noise of what's happening. What if we're missing God's voice every day because we're addicted to the wind, the earthquake, and the fire of our society? It might not be a true natural disaster, but that could be my phone and my Instagram, my activities outside, or even the overwhelming amount of schoolwork I feel like I always have. The adrenaline that keeps us going every day is making us block and miss out on the peace and the quiet. We live in a culture that craves excitement and the chaos. We choose to chase the big moments and counting down to the next one as soon as we finish the first one. For me, ever since I was in kindergarten, this has been school. In kindergarten, all you want to do is get to first grade. In first grade, you're excited to leave first grade. All the way until I was in 8th grade, and I was set that high school was going to be the time of my life, and I was going to have so much fun. And every year in high school ticked by as a check mark. I'm 1 year closer. We're done. High school graduation passed, and not even a day later, I was like, cool. College countdown starts now, and then we're going to finish college. College countdown ticks off year by year as you're able to get ahead a little bit faster. And where does it stop? School might end, but that can turn into the next job, the next big life moment, whether that be being married, having children, moving. It never stops. Everything is built around a timetable and a countdown. We chase the big moments, and we chase those victories in our life that we miss the gentle whisper of God. He calls us to rest, to listen, and be still. Elijah's story invites us to slow down, step out of the noise and adrenaline to open our ears and be able to listen for that still small voice. And if we turn to John 10:27. There we go. My sheep listen to my voice. I know them and they follow me. This is a promise from Jesus. We might not know what that voice sounds like right now, but when it happens, we will. When Jesus talks about his sheep listening to his voice, he's inviting us to something special, a relationship where we can hear God firsthand and clearly. The challenge is we can get really distracted with worries, to-do lists, or our own concerns. And when that happens, it's easy to tune out or to block that voice, the gentle whisper. Mary and Martha showcase that firsthand. Martha, busy and enjoys the to-do lists. She's distracted, running around, trying to prepare for Jesus at being at her house. The stress bounces off the walls, the endless to-do lists, and her head is filled with what happens next. Where Mary sits down, she sits, she listens, and she's able to focus on what Jesus is saying. She's fully present, soaking in his words. That story comes in Luke 10:38 through 42. Jesus and his disciples went on their way. Jesus came to a village where a woman named Martha lived. She welcomed him into her home. She had a sister named Mary. Mary sat at the Lord's feet, listening to what he said. But Martha was busy with all the things that had to be done. She came to Jesus and said, "Lord, my sister has left me to do all the work by myself. Don't you care? Tell her to help me." "Martha, Martha," the Lord replied, "you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed. Really, the only thing is needed, and Mary has chosen what is better, and that will not be taken away from her." Jesus, while gently, still calls Martha out, not because she's serving and not because she's not doing what is expected, but because she's distracted and overwhelmed. While her heart might be in the right place, her focus is scattered and unable to be in a line. Mary, on the other hand, had chosen presence over performance. Presence with God is an everyday choice, a conscious choice for us each day. It doesn't happen by accident, and it doesn't happen overnight. And it won't happen if we keep running our lives at full volume, rushing through tasks, thinking about what's next, and just trying to get through life. We have to turn down the noise and be able to listen. We have to set aside our busyness and choose to sit with Jesus, listening, resting, and being fully present. Because when this happens, we receive God's presence. When we slow down enough to actually listen, what happens? First, peace replaces the anxiety. Instead of our minds racing with the what ifs, the oh no's, the what did I just say, we're able to listen and find rest. Our mind is able to fully be empty and just be there with God. Secondly, we're able to replace clarity for our confusion. When we chase everything every day, there's so much happening that it's easy to get distracted and lose focus. Where for me, I have to write everything down or I won't remember. When we choose to stop, when we choose to breathe, and when we choose to listen, instead of the emptiness of constant chasing, we're able to be filled with what God is wanting with our lives. We're able to realize his true direction and his path for us. The fog lifts, the brain fog that we might not realize is happening, but what causes us to forget little things, that causes us to not be able to focus, it goes away. We're able to be present in the now. And finally, joy replaces the emptiness. When you're constantly chasing life, sometimes it feels like you're not actually enjoying life. And so when you're able to stop chasing and live, you're able to enjoy the moments more, you're able to have more fun, and we're able to fill ourselves with Jesus. We sit quietly and fill our souls. Jesus' invitation, while simple, is highly powerful. When we slow down, we stop missing the whisper, we stop missing the small moments, and we realize that life is special each and every day. By choosing presence over perfection, we are able to listen for his voice. And when we hear his voice, everything can change. The rush, the adrenaline, the excitement, and the busyness, it feels good. It's exciting. It fulfills our life for the moment. Whether that be taking an adventure with your family, a job that's pretty cool, or just your day-to-day, everything has to happen. It feels good. And it can feel in that moment fulfilling. But when you go day-to-day and you look back and you ask yourself, what did I do? Where is my impact? It's hard to remember. When you're stuck in a routine of, oh, I have to do this, and I need to get that done before it gets dark, you can forget what happened and what you actually did. But when you stop, when you listen, and when you're able to sit quietly, you're able to realize that the quiet isn't so quiet anymore. The gentle voice of God is there, and we are able to find peace. We can find what's truly called rest. And the presence of God, we're able to find our help. When you ask God to help you, it's possible to create a balance between the quiet and the rush. Because too much quiet isn't good, but too much rush isn't good either. The balance between the quiet and the rush, where we prioritize the calm but still get the excitement, gives us a new look on the life that wasn't available before. Thanks.
Be sure and look at the back of your bulletin for announcements. There's board meetings, school board meetings Tuesday, and yeah. See, if you're going nowhere, you might need a battery change. So pause and stop, and someone will come down and help you. Recharge it. By the way, just a quick note, Alan Sadler and his wife Judith stopped by our place. They have settled into a 1,000-foot apartment in Walla Walla. And we talked about, they moved from 3,400 square foot down to 1,000. And he said our beautiful Grande went to the school district out in Elton. Some of you had items from him. And we talked then about slimming down. And my wife just loves this talk. She thinks I tend to gather up stuff. And I don't really gather up stuff. I'm planning for the next project, right, Glenn?
Right.
Yeah, men do that.
Right.
So anyway, Alan and Judith is doing pretty good, all things considered. And Margie, you've got a thought for us. And you do too.
Happy Sabbath. Just want to let you all know next Sabbath is general potluck. So bring some food to share and we can fellowship together and have one of those quiet moments in time where we enjoy the fellowship of one another. Thank you.
I was wanting to give you guys an update for school. We have our work bee planned for next Sunday, the 17th. There is the sign-up sheet of the big projects that we had that's on the bulletin board in the hallway. Thank you for everyone who has signed up. I think we've had lots of people who've been willing to do that. Those items can be done anytime between now and the 17th if you signed up for those. And then we're just going to do some like general cleanup and getting the school ready on that morning, starting probably 7 to 8 o'clock and then go till about noon, just trying to clean up and get the school ready. First day of school is August 25. Registration is still open. We would love to have a few more kids come and join us in the classrooms. We have some exciting plans this year. My theme in my classroom is camping across America and the regions of the United States and how God is our wise guide. And then Rachel has, I think, lights, shedding lights, and learning about how to, what light is for like science and stuff, and then how we can share our light with others. So we have lots of plans for this year. Would love to have, if you know of anyone who would like to register, please have them talk to Rachel or myself or Lynn, and would love to help you out with the process. And I believe that there's some financial aid still available that we can probably figure out if that's needed. And so would love to see you guys at the work bee on the 17th, and love to let us know if you have more kids who'd like to register.
Appreciate your hard work at the school. That's a great job. Sky is moving again, and if you would like to help him, he would need your help. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Sky. We have classes up and down the hallway and a big class back there that any question is entertained. It's robust. It is exciting back there and sometimes challenging. But it's fun. Learning is fun. Yes, sir. And let's take up the offering before we go. Thank you, men. Here we go. Father, thank you for helping us to be generous as you are generous. And we're reminded always of the little lady that put in 2 mites. And Jesus said, notice her. She put in more than all these fat cats did. God takes notice of little things. Thank you, Lord. Amen. One more inspirational thought. You remember our dear Fanny that passed away? We had passed out a note, whatever you'd like to do, let us know. And we have a copy of that. She marked 7 things she would like to do. And then she writes, love you all. And for all you've been there for me in exciting opportunities. And she was gone the next 2 days. All right, pick it. Fanny. Yeah, beautiful gal that came and then, yeah. Okay, pick a class.
Help them get some class.
Yes, get some class and go to a class.